Hi, this is Peter Harrison, and today I'm going to be talking about laws. The different kinds of laws, the mathematical laws, physical laws, religious laws, and human laws. First I'm going to reiterate the mathematical and logical laws. Obviously these laws are able to be proved true. In other words, they are able to be proved true mathematically. They don't require any evidence. They don't relate to the physical world or the physical universe. They can be proved true in terms of their own self-consistency. So things like addition and multiplication and subtraction, and laws of Pythagorean laws about geometry and so on. These things are true regardless of what universe you're in, regardless of what time you are, regardless of where you are in the universe. So those things are universally true, and they are true throughout all time. The physical laws are the ones that we observe to be true in our current universe. They're not necessarily true in every universe. For example, the law of gravity may not be true in every universe, assuming there are other universes. It just happens to be a fact that gravity exists, and it's observed to be true, and that gravity follows a specific law, the law of gravity. And as humans, we've come up with a model to explain how gravity operates. So it doesn't say why gravity operates the way it does, it simply says this is how gravity operates. And obviously Einstein provided a very good idea about how gravity operates, and many other interesting things about how light propagates and so on. So yeah, the physical laws, they cannot be proved true. So unlike mathematical systems, you cannot prove that a certain model of gravity is true, cannot prove that Einstein was correct. We can only find out that we can only have a provisional finding that his theory is consistent with the current evidence. And at the moment, every experiment we've done has proved to be consistent with Einstein's theory. As a result of this provisional nature of theories, they can change over time. So for example, we had Newtonian gravity. So Newton described gravity and how things worked. And for a few hundred years anyway, we accepted that as the way that the universe worked, and that's how gravity worked. It wasn't until Einstein came up with a completely new formulation of how gravity works that we've modified our theory. So yes, the theory changes. Obviously, reality doesn't. Okay, so there is obviously one reality we experience, and gravity hasn't changed from Newton's time to Einstein's time. Gravity has been around for billions of years, since the beginning of the universe, at the very least, and it hasn't changed at all. So obviously the reality doesn't change. It has whatever laws it has, and you don't have access to those mechanisms. You don't know what they are. However, our models of that process, they are subject to change over time, because they are concepts developed by humans. They are human constructs, and unlike mathematical constructs, purely mathematical constructs, they are not just self-referential, but they refer to an external universe, and therefore if they do not jibe, if they are not correct according to that universe and experimental evidence, then they are simply wrong. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about religious laws. Religious laws cannot be proved true or false. They are essentially subjective. Unlike, say, mathematical laws, which can be proved definitely true or definitely false through mathematical process, or physical laws, which can be proved false through experiment, a religious law cannot be proved either true or false, because it is basically a subjective value decision. Religious laws change with society. For example, slavery. Slavery was perfectly acceptable in the time of the Bible, there was lots of writings about how to keep and how to treat your slaves. It was never said that you shouldn't actually have slaves or that there is some kind of moral prohibition on that. That doesn't mean that these people were immoral, just that their moral system has changed over time. I personally think that our moral system today, with free speech and free expression and no slavery, is a better system. But again, this is a value decision, one that I think is somewhat sound, but if you ask me to prove it in some kind of mathematically rigorous way or point to some kind of physical evidence, I would have some trouble trying to prove it. The other thing about religious laws is they are very specific to us. They're very specific to humans. And because of this, they're very specific to Earth and very specific to this very small corner of the universe. They are hardly universal. So all of the prohibitions, for example, around adultery and murder and so on, they're all to do with human behaviour. So if there are no humans, and if you're talking about completely alien civilizations, where there may not be any sexes at all, where ideas of property don't exist, where maybe they have completely different social constructs, the laws we have in the Ten Commandments may be completely arbitrary. They're completely irrelevant to those societies. So you could hardly say that the religious laws are universal. They certainly. I'm finally going to look at human laws. Human laws are similar to religious laws. Again, they are subjective and cannot be proved true or false. So, for example, we have copyright. You cannot prove that copyright is true or false because it doesn't really apply. It is a law that constrains our behaviour. The laws are modified over time. That's the reason we have governments. That's the reason we have a democracy and a system of voting, is because we know that our system of laws has to be modified through time in order to adapt to the specific conditions and challenges that we have. We couldn't have a one system which has an unchangeable set of rules that applies throughout time, as things change through time. Trivial example would be the internet and the effect that global communications has had on a vast number of societies of the world. Copyright has had to be changed in order to be able to deal with these new things, and obviously human laws are not universal. They apply just to us. They apply to humanity, and specifically different countries have their own regional laws which take into account the needs of the societies and their particular culture. So yes, human laws are definitely not universal. They do change, and they cannot be proved true or false. So, which are the religious laws closer to? Are they closer to that of mathematical or physical laws, or are they closer to human laws? Well, I would posit that religious laws are closer related to our human laws, and therefore I think religious laws come from us.